Okay, YouTube, I am on here recording because I'm ready to go to work and I think I might regret it if I don't get some sort of a before on this big change that we have coming. So if you've been watching my YouTube for any length of time in the last, I don't know, year, 18 months, you've probably heard me mention the big trees that are shading my garden. Those big trees. These are Oregon trees. See those? They pretty much make a wall. Now my garden's over there and I've been tracking it. I know it's in the fall and the sun has dipped down, but I've been tracking it just to see what places in my yard get more light and different things. And I've been really making mention to my husband that the garden is just not getting enough sunlight to make things grow the way they should, including my tomatoes this year. I think I probably collected more tomatoes off of my accidental starts that self-seeded than I did off the ones I planted. So the neighbor is gonna graciously thin them, but he wants to keep the live trees there, and understandably so. It's his garden, his yard. I mean, his yard, he should. There's a lot of dead trees in there, but the part that's a bummer is that the main trees that are alive are actually on our fence line on this side because they're the ones who get the main sun and have for the last several years. So they're very healthy. So I know he's gonna come in and he's gonna thin, but I just don't think he's gonna thin enough to make it worth it in that little corner garden space. That garden has been there for 18 plus years, and I think that there's just no way that those trees are gonna do anything but block more. So I was talking to my husband about it, and his idea was to actually move my garden space, and it would be right behind me. So do you see where that red thing is? That's actually on the corner. So I would be moving that greenhouse and putting in a new little one that I have that's smaller but more aesthetically pleasing. And our fence is gonna go in the bottom corner of our property, where we have a little bit more control of our light because it's our property. So that means that I am starting a big garden project, which is overwhelming and daunting and actually a little bit exciting. It's wonderfully exciting, but it's overwhelming and daunting more at this point. And mostly because I know exactly how much work I put into switching my other garden to a back to Eden style over the last 3 years. And I get to start from scratch and do it again. And I know exactly what that takes. But I want to garden next year in this new sunny location because it's been so long since I've had full-on sun. So I'm going to do the work this summer. It's going to be my exercise. I'm going to pull good dirt out of my other garden space until it's flat, and we'll use that as a dog kennel type of pen if we ever need it, things like that. It'll still get used, or we'll take it out and replace the grass. I'm not sure yet. But in the meantime, I have artichokes to transplant and different things I can move. I could move things like my chamomile, blah, 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 blah. But I have to start with grass. And there's a lot of hard work coming up for me in this. And I'm excited about it. And then we have another change that I wanted to show you about too. So let me take you where that change is coming. So behind me is the memorial garden that you guys have seen me talk about with my mom's journey right here. This pretty garden right here. This was new this whole last year. This was my kind of my major garden project this last year. I'm super happy with it. Look at those mums. There's some impatiens growing up. I get happy animals, like critters and birds and stuff. Super happy. Well, our bedroom in our house is right there. So you see how close that big tree is right there? We've had some stuff fall off. And then right behind over my head here, this tree, and this tree, and that tree. Those are cottonwoods, which I'm not sure if you guys all have cottonwoods where you live, but here, the cottonwoods that are down, this dips down. There's water down in here, standing water in the wintertime. So it saturates the root wad and they get flooded out and they die. And cottonwoods are kind of like born to die anyways. They're kind of they live. Anyways, so up in the front of our property, we've had several of them fall, and these are close enough to hit our house. And so they're not on our property. It's obviously the other side of the fence. So the property owner over there is bringing in a tree guy to assess the situation, and more than likely we're gonna have some of those trees come down too. So I really wanted a record of what this looks like so we can see the change. And I'm kind of excited for, we'll still have our bird sanctuary kind of feel, but there will be more light on like this garden and stuff, but not direct light, like it won't be smoking hot in our backyard. But it's just another change, and I'm sure there's a lot of work in that too. So I want to show you my to-be garden space, my new garden space. So you've seen my view before. I've shown you like the creek over there, and we had our weddings in the backyard, and we've got this beautiful flower beds. And then in my little greenhouse, you guys are used to seeing that as like flower beds with a little bit like my pumpkin patch back there. But these 2 choke cherries will have to come down. They're kind of a nuisance tree too, but then we'll have a fence that comes through here and over to here, and then I'll probably do my gate in this area, maybe an archway of some sort, and then it'll wrap around the corner and go back. This greenhouse will be replaced by a prettier one, and it'll be up in the corner here. And then that's my sun area. See, even now in the fall with the trees in place, it's getting full sun. And my garden over there does not. The very tip of it is getting it. See, the archway is getting it, but the other part doesn't. So those are the problems. See all those trees? No shade. And you'd think when I was young that I would have thought, these trees are going to be about 100 feet taller by the time you care about it. But no, I was a kid. So that property owner there, we're hoping to talk him into clearing out just these bottom few, so when the sun passes from behind these trees, this is full sun, and this will be dappled sun. This tree right here is damaged, and it's going to fall on its own, but we'll probably help it too. And I know these are beautiful trees and all of that, and we're going to keep a whole bunch of them, but that's our progress. That's what's going to change. And I want to record it because this space is very much going to change, and I always love YouTube is sort of a record of that progress. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm daunted by it because I'm literally starting with grass. You can see where we colored it in with the orange to mark what we were talking about. This area back here has mulch in it, and it's been used for a one season now, so that will be easier. And this is obviously a big space, but this is going to be my best sunlight up here, so I kind of need that. And then for an added extra, we took the fencing out off here, back here, for the wedding, for the venue, so it would be prettier for the pictures and stuff. That was just the bride's request since COVID, and we had to do it at home. So this fence is actually not going to stay there because it's not complete. It doesn't go anywhere. It's undone on both ends. So our property line will go back there, and then at some point it'll cross back here, and we'll connect this garden fence to that. So it'll be kind of 3-sided down here. So this lumping stuff over the hill over the years will turn into a beautiful garden too, but it's kind of a mess. Check this out when I get closer. It's kind of a mess. And I grew my pumpkins back here this year, and squash, and they did succeed, but they had to go forward and grow out from underneath the shade of this one tree that's coming out. So this tree, see how it's leaning? It's leaning, you can't see on this side, but for like 20 feet at the base, it's actually damaged, and so it's dying. If you look at the top, yes, it's fallen, the leaves are falling, but that's all dead. It's not actually alive. So this will be part of my garden. We'll take this fence out. This is an original fence. There's some dead filbert root wad here. This, it's hard to see in the camera, but this dips down quite a bit, and there's a lot of range here. I'm not sure quite where my fence line's gonna be, but I'll actually be able to sit and see the creek from inside my garden. Part of the reason why I didn't just do it down here and be happy with it is because where the property goes from being flat and level to falling off to the creek, this gets less sun too, because it doesn't get the daytime sun. So up here is still going to be my most sunny area, and so I'm working towards that. And it's a little bit daunting and a little bit wonderful, and I'm super thankful to have the property to work with. I know a lot of people, you know, they live in the town or whatever, and one of my husband's dreams is to be more on purpose with our little sitting area up here, have beautifulness going on. So we're going to do that. I'd show you all the way across, but the sun is really going to shine right in the camera. So there's my before. Maybe I'll just keep turning all the way in a circle for my husband too, because he's gonna want to see before and afters of our whole place. Okay, so over there, that big tree, maybe that big tree, and there's one more big cottonwood behind it that are, I call them widow makers because they're already dropping the tops are dead and they're already dropping big branches out, like in a scary way. So this big wad here will stay. The big amount of trees back here will stay. This cherry tree will stay because I like it because it fills up with birds. This one and this one have to go. So interesting, huh? So much change, and it's a lot of hard work that's coming our way. But let's do this. Got a little start here. So crazy. Got a little basil for in the house growing, and radishes for seasoning salads, some cilantro here, and then a lettuce tub for microgreens. That's another lettuce tub here. I already ate the sunflowers all, and that's spinach, and it's just because I want to see. And I might plant some of this stuff. I think that's a kohlrabi or a kale. I'm going to put that outside. Yay! Green. Alright, I'm back, YouTube, and I wanted to continue telling you about my garden move. So I've actually broken ground. I've got some rototilling started, which rototilling to me is sort of cheating if you're going to do a true back to Eden, but I want to accelerate my soil for the spring, and it's all about getting stuff in the ground to me. So I actually have, I showed you the greens upstairs, and I have a few more to add to it. Let me show those real quick. I have some chard, some little red chards that are self-started. There's, I don't know, 8 plants or so there. I have some bok choy. I'm hoping they'll make a transition into a new garden space. And the ones upstairs were kale, and these are the kohlrabi, which they are in sore need of a drink of water. So the containers that I've used are just salad containers that are food grade, and I probably won't get more than one use, but I figure it's a great way to repurpose things and make them use it one more time before you throw them away and do all the normal recycling stuff. But my goal, most people would do all the rototilling and then all of the weed barrier, or like not weed barrier, but like wood chips in the alleyways and all their mulching in place for the soil. But the part that's hardest for me is starting from scratch and having nothing where I want it to be. And so I got my ground rototilled. I have to wait for my greenhouse because it's just an easy put together kind, but we have those trees to fall and I don't know quite where they're gonna fall, so I'm gonna wait on that. But I really want to turn some of the brown green hopefully before we hit into our cold weather. It is late October, and it's really too late, and so anything I can get to turn into success would be fantastic. I have a lot of fun little self-seeding nasturtiums and calendula and all of that, and I know they're just gonna die out when the frost hits, but I can't wait for my new space to have some green in it. But I also had this fun thing happen. So the other day when I was out and about, I had a class that I took for something, and there was a group of people there, and at the end a stranger to me says, "Hey, the back end of my vehicle has I have a pile of pumpkins in there. Do you want them for free?" So he gave me some really cool stuff. I'd grown a few of my own, but there's that one, and I think this is a sweetmeat squash. But I'm super excited because when I harvest these, I'm so gonna take the seeds and collect the seeds. So he did this one, and I think this was a cross between two, but I still love the color on the ends. It's super like artistic. And this little guy, same thing, but I'm looking forward to having some variety of my own squashes. We've already had squash soup, and he gave me some pumpkin, sweet pie, sweet potato pie pumpkins that are made for that. And I'm really excited about that because it's just one little thing at a time that's super enjoyable. So let me show you my progress. Here it is, my new garden space. I'm actually kind of getting excited about it. As much work as it is, I'm getting pretty excited about it. So this row on the outside is done. Well, it has a lot of layers in there. So I have moved my compost pile that has been aging and mulching for about since about March, and I put it underneath, and then we just topped it with clippings and carried that idea all the way through to the end here. And so it's the first row, and I moved my rhubarb over there, so I actually have something planted in it. And then of course the cardboard is just the beginning of where I'm gonna put rows. The grass is where I'm gonna cover up and put some weed barrier down and do some like, they're 2 by 2, but I think they're like 16 inch by 16 inch or 18 inch by 18 inch squares of, so I'm gonna have a floor in my greenhouse. The fence on the back of this greenhouse has been taken out, which I hope you can see that over there. So this is coming out and things are started. Obviously there's lots to go. We got to get a fence in here. We want to get a gate with a trellis over the top, the new greenhouse, all kinds of stuff. But for me, it's easier to have it be begun than it is for me to have start from scratch. So I just need to get some green growing. So I'm going to get some seeds in there. I think I'm going to go ahead and plant my garlic out here. And I know the soil isn't mature yet, but got to start somewhere and see what happens. So that's what we're doing. It's kind of exciting. And also this day, right after I was rototilling my garden, I got a little surprise from my son and his fiance, and I'd like to show you that. Congratulations, Mark and Kelsey. Yeah? Look.
That's so cute. I don't think Tim knows what's going on.
Yes, he doesn't know.